So tell me, are you a team leader, a group leader, a manager at work? Do you struggle with how to balance, being the strict boss and the friendly boss? You know what I could do? I could give you 8 power words to make your life as a manager simple. Hi, I'm Rima and welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is about power words for managers. Now, being a manager is a very, very tough job. You have to strike a balance between being friendly and strict. And honestly speaking, nobody likes to be managed. Everyone wants to be included, respected, appreciated, and motivated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a list of words. Now, these are not just words, they are power words. Yes, very, very powerful words. You can use these words and then you can never ever go wrong with your team. Now, these words are apt for a manager. They have the right amount of authority. At the same time, they're respectful and complimentary. So I'm going to start with the first one on my list. This one happens to be awesome. Now, I know that you use awesome with friends, with family, but you could also use it once in a while with co-workers, with your employees, because you know what? Awesome has this awesome ring to it. It actually is a very, very appreciative word. So which means you can use awesome to appreciate and encourage. So if your co-worker or one of your team members comes to you with a fantastic, exemplary idea, you could say something like, awesome, that's a total thumbs up, and the person would feel like, wow, I'm being appreciated, my idea is being appreciated, and the person leaves feeling encouraged and motivated. Now that's a very, very important job that the manager has, to motivate, appreciate, and encourage. And awesome is a word that does all three. So make sure you keep using awesome once in a while, or maybe a little often, and your team is going to be smiling. Moving on, a very, very different and interesting word. There is radical. Now, radical is completely out of the box thinking, something new or out of the box. Now imagine you and your team members are having a brainstorming session, and one of the team members comes up with this really interesting idea that is so unusual and out of the box that no one has ever thought of it before. You could say something like, great going, that's a really radical idea. Which means you're giving the due appreciation that that idea requires, and you're definitely motivating all your employees to think out of the box, to come up with unique, unusual ideas. So radical is a very, very important word. And after awesome and radical, I have another word which just sounds really grand and magnificent. It is stupendous. Now, trust me, stupendous is a very, very positive word. It has nothing to do with being stupid, so don't even think of it remotely in a negative light. You could use stupendous in order to mean brilliant or fantastic. That's right, that's how simple the meaning of stupendous actually is. It could mean brilliant or fantastic. It's just that when you use the word stupendous, it sounds so magnificent, so much larger than life. It actually brings new life to the whole sentence. So you could say something like, instead of saying, the team had a brilliant performance, or I have a fantastic team, you could say something like, I have a stupendous team, and that was a stupendous performance. It just elevates the whole atmosphere and makes your employees feel so much more valued and appreciated and really, really liked. And that's something you can never ever go wrong with. So make sure you make a note of this one, very, very important. That is stupendous for you. Now moving on, there's something called bravo. Now, I know most of you may already know the meaning of this word because you may have heard it, elsewhere in like stories, especially old poetry. Yes, the root of bravo lies in Old English. It's been used for centuries, especially, where there's a war happening and there's victory, and then the king says, "Bravo, my men, you have won yourself a fantastic, stupendous victory." Well, you could do the same thing as a team leader. You could congratulate your men and your women, which means your team, on a really stupendous performance by saying, "Bravo, you guys were stupendous." Now, bravo has this royal and regal air to it, and it's very, very enriching and motivating. So, bravo is also a sort of congratulations. Or, it's like tapping their back and saying, "Well done." Now, trust me, you will never ever go wrong with bravo. It always works. And it'll always make your team feel so much more motivated. So those are my 4 really, really interesting power words for managers and team leaders. I'm going to repeat them. There's awesome, which is an awesome word really, and it makes you feel appreciated and encouraged. There's radical, for new thinking, out of the box thinking. There's stupendous, which actually means brilliant or fantastic. It just sounds really larger than life and you could never go wrong with this one. There's bravo, which is more like a celebration, a congratulations, or just telling your team, "Well done." So I think we did really well with these 4. We can move on to the next 4. Now, these are a bit challenging, so I want you to pay attention, especially to this one. Now, this one could be tricky. It's called resolve. Resolve means 2 things. Firstly, firm intention, and the second thing, to solve. Okay, I hope you're not confused. Please don't be, because I'm going to make it very, very simple for you. So, resolve actually means firm intention. So, if I say something like, "I firmly resolve to meet my deadline," it means I have the strongest of intentions to actually meet my deadline and do a fantastic job. So, that's the meaning of resolve for you in one way. There's another meaning that resolve has. It means to solve. So you could say something like, "I wish to solve the problem for my client," or "I wish to resolve the problem for my client." So when you use resolve, it adds so much more weight to it. Now let's see resolve in a sentence form with both the meanings, So you could tell your team something like, "Let's show firm resolve and create a stupendous performance this quarter." Sounds motivating, almost like a leader giving a speech. It makes you sound like a visionary who has high values and principles. So make sure whenever you're kind of showing a firm intention, you use the word resolve without fail. Then of course, there's something called resolve, meaning to solve. So you could use a mundane solve and saying, whenever our client faces a problem, we solve it for them. Or, you could just change and use the word resolve, which will sound so much more effective if you say, whenever our clients face a problem, we make sure we resolve each and every one of them. It's more professional, it has more weight, although it means the same. It means to solve. So resolve is slightly tricky. It has 2 meanings, one being firm intention, the second one meaning to solve. And it would do you good to use resolve in both the ways as a team leader. Now moving on, there's ingenious. Now ingenious is derived from the word genius, which means brilliant or absolutely clever. So once again, let's go back to the boardroom, wherein there's a brainstorming session happening, and one of your team members, particularly a young one or a new one, actually comes up with a brilliant idea. You could say something like, "What a great idea," or you could say, "Well done," or "Bravo," What an ingenious idea, which means clever thinking and an innovative idea. So ingenious is a word that you can use, but sparingly, because every idea out there is not ingenious. Ingenious is something that has a stroke of genius in it. So make sure you're not using this too often, but make sure you're using it to motivate and encourage your employees or co-workers or team members. Now moving on, I have exciting. Exciting, something that instills positive interest. So exciting could actually be like a mundane word that you use in everyday life. You could say something like, oh, that's an exciting film. I was so excited to see my friend. But at work, you could actually use this word to create value by creating some positive buzz about things to come. So imagine you're planning for the next quarter or for the next year. You could say something like, I have some exciting news. I have some exciting plans. There are so many exciting projects lined up. Just by using the word exciting, you're creating a sort of a positive interest, giving your team members something to look forward to. It's like creating a positive buzz in advance. So make sure you use exciting, because it can make a very dull atmosphere very, very exciting and interesting. Moving on, there's path breaking. Now this has nothing to do with broken roads or broken paths. Let me clarify for you. Path breaking actually means, innovative or something that has never been done before. So imagine that the company decides to launch a path-breaking product, which means a product that has never ever been created before, a product that's going to be a trailblazer in the market. So path-breaking is something that has never been done before by your competitors or anyone else. It's something new and innovative and exciting. So when you use the word path breaking, it definitely means that no one has ever attempted this before, or no one has proved this particular thing before. So if your team does something that they've never done before, they take their performance to a great new level, you could say something like, wow, that was path breaking. A path breaking idea, a path breaking performance, or a path breaking product. So path breaking is a very important and valuable word in business English, especially as a power word for managers. Now these are my 8 power words for all the managers out there. Trust me, if you use these, you can't go wrong with your team. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you enjoyed the particularly complex words and you are going to use them with your team. This is me, Reema, saying bye, and in case you want to say something to me, write to me, make sure you use the comment box below. Thank you.